Hello everyone, I am Rosni Vassal and I'm excited to share insights on a topic that is deeply relevant to many of us, that is sleep hygiene and wellness for international students. A guide for international students balancing work, study and life. Balancing academics, part time jobs, and adapting to a new culture is already challenging, but poor sleep can make it even harder. Do you know that chronic sleep deprivation can reduce academic performance by up to 30% and significantly increase the risk of mental health issues? So, today I will be discussing why sleep hygiene matters, the challenges in international students face, practical strategies to improve sleep, and how universities can better support us. My goal is to help us prioritize wellness and create healthier routines for success. So I did lots of research and find some of the findings from that research. So I'm going to include impact of sleep and academic performance, mental health effects, cultural barriers to sleep hygiene, increased risk of sleep disorders, social determinants of health and sleep, sleep hygiene improvements, and in the same way positive effects of sleep interventions as well. Social determinants of health, that is SODH, it includes education access and quality, social and community context, healthcare access and quality, neighborhood built environment, and last but the last, not the least, is economic stability. In the same way, let's move into my next slide, that is sleep hygiene. What sleep hygiene exactly is? So, sleep hygiene refers to the practices and habits that promotes good sleep quality and sufficient rest. It involves maintaining consistent sleep schedule, creating a comfortable and quiet sleep environment, and engaging in pre-sleep routines that relax the mind and body. Good sleep hygiene also includes avoiding stimulants like caffeine or electronic screen close to the bedtime and managing stress to ensure restorative sleep, as it is the must problem of most of the students, and adopting these practices can enhance physical health, cognitive functioning, and overall well-being. So let's move into our next slide, that is why is sleep so critical for the international students. It is so critical for the international student for mental health because it is foundational for mental health, memory, and academic performance. In the same way, international students face unique stressors, cultural adjustments, academic pressures, and part-time work. So, what are the challenges faced by international students? I've researched and found some of the challenges faced by the international students due to lack of sleep. So, stress and anxiety, balancing academic, finances, and their cultural adaptations, and sleep disruption like irregular sleep schedules, noisy environment, and late night studies as well, or late night work, and lack of awareness, and they don't have like awareness about sleep hygiene and wellness. So let's move into my next slide, that is impact of poor sleep. What are the most common impacts of poor sleep? That is impaired cognitive functions. It lowers the grade as well student that they cannot focus on study. That's why definitely it lowers the grades. It increases the mental health issues, and it helps like motivates people towards trouble thinking, poor memory, and loss of energy in the sudden mood changes and so on. So here are some of the practical strategies that we can apply for the better sleep, that is set a sleep routine, create a sleep friendly space, manage stress, leverage campus resources and so on. So I have interview with the expert regarding like the importance of sleep and wellness for the international student. So I have interview with Sarah and I'm going to um, listen like tell you guys about this. Let's go through our interview.
Thank you for taking time to chat with me today, Saira. I'm working on a project about sleep hygiene and wellness for international students. It's such an important topic, but I would love to hear your thought on why sleep hygiene matters so much for this group.
It's my pleasure, Roshni. Sleep hygiene is crucial and critical for international students because they face unique challenges like balancing academics, part time jobs, cultural adjustments, and even sometimes the language barriers. All these stressors can disrupt their sleep patterns, which in turn affects their mental health, focus, and overall well being.
That's so true. I have read studies that show poor sleep is linked to lower academic performance and higher rates of anxiety and depression. Could you share more about how inadequate sleep impacts students' daily lives?
Absolutely. When students don't get enough sleep or have irregular sleep schedules, it can impair the cognitive function, things like memory, decision making, and even problem solving. This makes studying and retaining information much harder. On top of that, poor sleep weakens the immune system, which means students are more likely to get sick, adding another layer of stress.
One thing I'm curious about is whether cultural factors play a role in sleep hygiene. For instance, do international students face specific barriers related to their backgrounds?
Great question, Roshni. Cultural norms can definitely influence sleep practices. For example, in some cultures, working late into the night or sacrificing sleep for academics is normalized. Students might feel guilty prioritizing rest. Additionally, international students might live in shared accommodations that are not conducive to good sleep, too much noise, or lack of personal space.
Wow, I hadn't considered that. What strategies do you think are most effective for improving sleep hygiene among international students, especially like those juggling work and school?
I would recommend starting with small and manageable changes. Like, for instance, you can, like set a consistent sleep schedule, create a calming bedtime routine. Then we have got optimizing the sleep environment, and even managing stress. Practices like mindfulness or journaling can reduce anxiety that often keeps students awake.
Those are great tips, but what if a student feels overwhelmed and does not know where to start?
That's where university support comes in. Wellness centers should offer workshops on sleep hygiene and stress management. Counselors and even peer mentors can also guide students on prioritizing their health. Sometimes just having conversation about these issues makes students realize they are not alone.
Well, for my project, I want to create resources that are practical and relatable. Do you have any advice on how to present this information so that it resonates with appropriate students?
Sure, keep it simple and engaging. Use visuals like infographics or short videos to explain the importance of sleep and how to improve it. Sharing real stories from other international students can also make the content relatable. Finally, emphasize the benefits, better grades, improved mental health, and more energy so students understand it's worth the effort.
Okay, that's a great point. Lastly, if I wanted to measure the impact of these resources, what would you suggest for me?
For that, maybe like you could conduct surveys or focus groups to assess changes in students' sleep habits and wellness after engaging with your resources. Collect feedback to see what resonates and what might need adjustment. Collaboration with wellness centers can also help your progress over time.
Thank you so much, Saira. You have given me a lot of valuable insights that I can incorporate into my project. I really appreciate your time.
You are very welcome, Roshni. Best of luck with your project. I'm sure it will make a positive difference for many students.
Welcome. Thank you for taking time.
Well,
One thing I'm curious about is whether cultural factors play a role in sleep hygiene. For instance, do
was mine.
well for
expert Saira, and she gave some of the insights on that regarding that. That she said sleep is vital for focus, memory, and mental health and immune functions. It weakens the immune system, making strained more susceptible to illness. She also mentioned that you have to set a consistent sleep schedule to regulate the body internal clock. Universities can help by offering counseling services, sleep hygiene workshops, and time management and program, as she already mentioned all of those. She also said using visuals, relatable stories, and emphasizing the benefits of good and sleep can help engage in international students, as well as she also mentioned surveys and focus groups and assess how students sleep habits change their after like using these resources. In the same way, here are some of the implications as she mentioned for university and communication, like hosting sleep and workshops, providing accessible mental health resources, and developing peer support programs. So here are the authentic audience to whom it is it goes to, this video goes to, and how to share this one. Hi Amisa, as an international student, how do you manage your sleep with all the responsibilities like studying and working?
It is challenging. Sometimes I sleep only for 2 to 5 hours because I need to study after work, and the irregular schedule makes it tough to stick to a routine.
Okay, what are the biggest barriers you face when trying to get a good night's sleep?
Um, Shared accommodation are a big issue. Noise from roommates or the environment is hard to control. Stress about deadliness and homesickness also keeps me awake all the night.
Okay, I see. Do you feel your sleep habits impact your studies or health?
Yes, absolutely. When I don't get enough sleep, I can't focus in class and my mood is often low. I have noticed I get sick more often too.
Okay, I see. Have you ever tried any strategies to improve your sleep?
Yeah, I have tried using earplugs and avoiding my phone before bed, but it is hard to be consistent. Some nights I just feel too anxious to fall asleep.
Well, what do you think universities could do to support students like you in improving sleep hygiene?
I think workshops on managing time and stress would help. Also, if dorms had quiet hours or better facilities for relaxation, it could make a big difference.
Okay, then how does your culture view sleep? Is it considered important or do you feel pressure to work harder instead of resting?
In my culture, there is a strong emphasis on working hard, sometimes at the expense of sleep. Many of us feel guilty about resting when there is not so much to do.
Okay, if someone shared practical tips or real stories about managing sleep as an international student, what would that help?
Yes, hearing how others manage would make it relatable and motivating. Seeing the benefits of sleep tied to better grades and health would also encourage me to try harder.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing, Amisha. Your perspective will be really helpful for my project.
You're welcome, Roshni. I hope your project brings more awareness to this issue. It is really needed.
Thank you. Well, that was my short interview with an international student who is facing the same problem of sleep hygiene and wellness. And now I have implications and analyzing from all of those, like from the experts, from the international students, and as a whole, I have implications on some call to actions analysis as well. So some of the implications are poor sleep that hinders memory, concentrations, and decision making, affecting academics, and is linked to an anxiety and depression, especially among international students. In the same way, insufficient sleep weakens the immune system, and cultural norms that prioritize work and study over sleep can also disrupt healthy sleep habits. And call to action are international students would aim for consistent sleep times to regulate their internal body clock, and practice like mindfulness and journaling help to reduce anxiety and stress. Universities should offer workshops and counseling services that focus on sleep hygiene to assist in managing, and educational institutions should also must prioritize on wellness and sleep awareness programs. So let's move into our next slide. Is In conclusion, I would like to say prioritizing sleep hygiene is vital for international students to succeed academically and personally. Sleep is not just a rest, it's the foundation for success, health, and happiness. For international students, improving sleep hygiene can make a profound difference in academic achievement and mental health well-being. I encourage to start small and set a bedtime routine or reduce screen time and for universities to create supportive environments through workshops and resources. At last, thank you for your attention today, everyone. I hope this discussion and these findings and research and my project will inspire and positive changes in how we approach sleep and wellness. I would now like to open the floor for any questions or comments, and that will really be positive feedback for me. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great time ahead. Well, here is the reference of my some of my finance pictures and everything. Thank you so much.